O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahurquit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
Imagine firing a heavy caliber rifle. You don't just pull the trigger and stand there completely relaxed.
Right, because if you do that, the physical recoil is going to absolutely shatter your shoulder. You really have to brace yourself.
Exactly. And today we're looking at a set of esoteric rituals that apply that exact same law of physics, but, well, to the human mind. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone.
Yeah, we are diving into the early 20th century writings of Aleister Crowley, and specifically, we're looking at two core physical gestures, the sign of the Enterer and the sign of silence.
Right, and our mission for you today is to really unpack these. We don't want you to look at them as like spooky theatrical pantomime. We want to demystify them as a very real binary system of psychological and energetic thermodynamics.
Because in this esoteric framework, mental action always has a physical reaction. We're looking at the mechanics of what happens when you forcefully project your will into the world and, honestly, how you survive the inevitable backlash.
So the first half of this is the sign of the Enterer. I was trying to picture this physically. You pull your hands up to your head, visualize this blinding light, draw it down your spine, and then you launch forward with this sudden 12-inch thrust.
Yeah, it's a very intense physical motion.
I mean, it sounds exactly like charging up an energy beam in a sci-fi movie. But how is this supposed to actually work on a physiological level?
Well, it works through the total kind of weaponized exhaustion of your nervous system. In that moment, the practitioner is taking on the archetype of absolute active force.
Which the text says is represented historically by the Egyptian god Rahurquit, right?
Exactly. And you aren't just reciting a magic word here. You are internally vibrating specific divine names in your chest and throat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the sustained vibration physically stimulates your central nervous system, driving your body into a completely altered state. It is grueling work.
So it's not just a mental visualization, it's actual physiological manipulation. The text mentioned this extreme exertion should make you violently sweat.
Oh, absolutely. And to the practitioner, it's supposed to sound internally like a voice roaring with the force of 10,000 thunders. You're forcing every ounce of your concentration outward in a single explosive burst to impose your will.
Okay, but wait. If I'm pushing all that intense focus outward, shouldn't it just, dissipate into the room once I'm done? Like, why does it snap back?
That's the physics part. It snaps back because of the vacuum it leaves behind.
Oh, right.
When you violently expel that much internal energy, you create an energetic void within yourself. And nature abhors a vacuum.
So the unrefined, chaotic energy of your environment just immediately rushes back in to fill that empty space.
Precisely. In esoteric terms, this is called the reflex wave. And if you don't brace for it, it crashes straight into an unprotected nervous system.
Ah, so that's the rifle recoil. What happens if you just take that hit?
Long-term, practitioners who fail to manage this reflex wave experience severe burnout, deep anxiety, and paranoia.
Man, that sounds dangerous. Which brings us to the mandatory, instantaneous countermove, the sign of silence. And the physical shift here is jarring.
It has to be immediate.
You immediately stamp your foot, pull back, and touch your left index finger to your lips. It mirrors Harpocrates, the ancient archetype of cosmic silence.
Well, right. But it's the visualization that does the heavy lifting. The text emphasizes visualizing a thick, protective envelope of water vapor around yourself.
Why water specifically?
Think about the physical properties of water. It's the ultimate cosmic shock absorber. It grounds electricity, it dampens kinetic impact.
Ah, so by visualizing dense water vapor closing around you, you're using a psychological grounding technique.
Exactly. You are violently shifting your brain from an active, attacking state into a fully insulated, receptive state. This completely severs the connection between you and the force you just fired.
That makes total sense for one intense moment. But Crowley's students were supposed to do these two signs daily. They paired them together in foundational, everyday practices.
Yes, like the LBRP.
Right, but why force your brain to constantly snap back and forth between attacking and defending every single day?
Because Living entirely in either extreme is dangerous. If you only project outward, always acting and imposing your will, you become exhausted and disconnected.
You just burn out.
Right. But if you only remain silent and receptive, you become completely detached from reality in absolute isolation. This forced daily oscillation builds mental resilience.
So you're literally working out the two extremes of the psyche to build the muscle in the middle.
Yes, and that middle ground is called centroversion. It is a state of total psychological balance. You learn how to assert your will forcefully without losing your center.
And you learn how to retreat into deep stillness without losing your edge. This is highly relevant for you listening, even if you never practice a single esoteric ritual in your life.
Absolutely. True effectiveness requires knowing exactly when to strike with intense ambition and knowing how to completely seal off and protect your own internal stillness afterward.
You just can't be purely aggressive or purely passive. Which leaves you with a thought to mull over today as we wrap up this deep dive.
Right, think about your own daily interactions.
If every forceful outward action creates an energetic vacuum that inevitably pulls the environment back in toward its source, how much of your everyday exhaustion and anxiety is just the reflex wave of your own unprotected projections?